Hey guys. Okay, so I'm just going to do a really random review in the middle of the night. Randomly because I felt like it. And once again, I'm aware of how super white this is. And usually I wear really dark red lipstick because it is so super white. And sometimes I lose my mouth. I didn't put any on, so if my mouth disappears, I'm sorry. And I'm also flipping my hair a lot because it's really hot in my room and it's just kind of making me sweaty and stuff. So that's probably going to get kind of annoying too. But hopefully I won't be talking for half an hour like usual. Okay, first off, I'd just like to say that I'm super excited for next Friday because I officially become a co-host on the Fright Tube. Yay! Thank you guys at the Fright Tube, and thank you Tim for actually inviting me anyway, and pretty much giving up half the month so that I can take over the other half of the month. So for those of you who watch the Fright Tube who are going to watch this, he's going to be doing the first and second Fridays still, but I'm taking over the third and fourth Fridays of the month for him. So my first one is next week, and then obviously he'll be going on for the first 2 weeks of September, and I'll be back on the third week of September on the Fright Tube. So, anyways, oh yeah, it took me ages to try and figure out what I was going to do for my first review next week, and I was like, there's so many films I want to review. I mean, I keep doing these little group reviews right now, like today this one's called 3 sequels that are completely pointless, 3 pointless sequels, and I just dropped my paper. I'll need to get that. Sorry. So yeah, 3 pointless sequels. We are starting with, if I can remember rightly, number 3. These are in order from not so bad to completely crap. So yeah, we're starting with Escape from LA. If you haven't seen the first one, I'm not really going to talk about the originals to these, okay? I'm just going to kind of talk about these. But yeah, the first one, it's all about, this whole saga is about Kurt Russell, who I love, playing a character called Snake Plissken. There's not really much to him. He says, call me Snake a lot when people call him Plissken. And basically the plot of the first one is that he is kind of an anti-hero. He's a war vet, but he hates the government. He's very well known for being against the government and against America, I guess. So he gets sequestered by the government to go save the president because in the future Manhattan's just one big prison. He gets sent in there to save the president, whose plane was hijacked and crashed in the middle of Manhattan. He's got some potentially damaging cassette tape that needs to be retrieved right now. So they send Snake in because he's obviously a criminal. He can infiltrate. He's got the best chance of saving him. The way they get him to do this is by implanting a couple of little explosive devices in his neck. He's got 24 hours before these explosive devices detonate, so he has to get in there quick. They're the only ones that can stop them from detonating, so he has to do what they say. He goes in there, he meets a few random characters. He meets Isaac Hayes, who plays Chef in South Park. He's in that movie. Every time someone sees him, they recognise who he is and say, man, I thought you were dead. He eventually finds what he's looking for, and then the film ends. I'm not going to give away the end for you. Okay, the second one is set 16 years... Well, it's not set 16 years later, I don't think, but it was made 16 years later. This came out in 1996. Now, the government sequestered him to go and save the president's daughter, who's been brainwashed into going off with this terrorist guy called Cuervo Jones, who's the leader of a gang called The Shining Path. Now, Los Angeles, hit by an earthquake several years previous, has become an island away from the mainland. It's been turned into a huge prison. They send Snake Plissken in by giving him a virus, which means he's going to die in a certain amount of hours. So he has to do what they say, and they're the only ones that have got the cure to save him. He goes in there, he has a look around, he meets a few people. Every time someone sees him and recognises him, they say, man, I thought you were taller. He goes in there, sees what he's got to do, does what he's got to do, and then comes out. I'm not going to give you the ending. It's the same fucking film! And I'm sorry if I'm going to swear a lot, but I do swear a lot. That just happens to be in my nature. I'm sorry. But fuck me, this film is the same as the first one. They had 16 years to come up with a sequel, and they came up with the same fucking thing. Oh, you know what? It's not even that it's a really terrible film. It's not terrible. There's not much. It's not very three-dimensional. It's a basic plot. It's a basic whatever. All of it's basic. Although Sweat by Tool's in it, and I love that song, so I can't really slag it off too much. But it just winds me up that it's completely pointless. They rehashed the first one. I mean, they spent $6 million on the first one, and it made 25 million something. They spent 50 million on this, and it made 25 million something. You know, I mean, They just put a shitload of CGI in it. I mean, I'm not going to go into too much of the details of the movie. Go watch it. I've told you the basic plot. But you know what? You might as well just watch the first one, because that's exactly what... If you watch the first one and you think, hey, I might want to watch the second one, because it's got more CGI in it, go watch the second one. But if you want to watch the second one thinking it's going to be a different film, don't, because it's the same film. It's completely pointless. I must admit, there's some good moments in it. It's a good kind of journey, because obviously the whole thing's a journey where he's trying to do a mission. The threat is quite interesting. You know, the characters are good. It's very colourful. I like it. Everyone's kind of, you know, it's kind of like a tribe in there. Everyone's doing their own thing. Bruce Campbell makes a cameo as a Surgeon General. It's pretty good. It's got that chick from Hot Shots in it. And the President's Daughter's that chick from People Under the Stairs. So it's got some pretty good people in it, you know. I don't think I've written down any excessive notes about it. The pros of this movie, it's very colourful. It's got some interesting characters. It's not very three-dimensional, but it's interesting. It's a good watch. It is a good watch. The cons, it's the same as the first one. Just complete rehash, and that pisses me off. My favourite line, I don't really have a favourite line. I do find it hilarious every time he goes, "Call me Snake," when they call him Pliskin. I find that funny. But maybe my favourite line can be Bruce Campbell's line when he wants to harvest their organs for all the plastic surgery fuck-ups in the room. And he says, "My, what a lovely blue eye. Shame there's only one." I actually found that quite funny. Okay, number 2. Da-da-da-da. American Werewolf in Paris. I bet half of you didn't even realise this thing existed. The original, of course, which is up here somewhere. Oh yeah, I moved my camera around. Do you like? This is half of my collection. You can't see the whole thing, it goes all the way down to the floor. But yeah, I thought I'd change it. That's the original. And then they gave us this thing. Okay? Don't, like, mistake them or anything. Put this one back. Yeah, so, once again, the sequel came out 16 years after the original. What is it with them coming out 16 years after the original? It came out in 1997 on Christmas Day. I don't think many people go to the cinema on Christmas Day. If you do, then good for you. But I didn't think many people did. Sorry, I'm very, very hot. Yeah, so it's about Andy, Brad and Chris. They go off to Paris on a European trip. They're looking to just kind of have fun and adventures and meet girls and do stuff and whatnot. You know, they're young, they're out of college. And they come across, during a failed stunt, they come across a French lady who Andy immediately falls for. He then proceeds to track her down throughout Paris. And when he does, he ends up very much involved in her world. She's a werewolf and she knows other werewolves, and they kind of get tricked into going to a party where Andy is then bitten and he begins to turn. The woman, Seraphine, played by Julia Delpy, she feels quite bad for him, and because it's like it's all her fault. So she proceeds to help him in trying to change him back, because her father apparently created a cure before he died, which she's been trying to perfect, because apparently it doesn't cure you at the moment. The version that she has makes you change immediately. Now, there's a little thing on Wikipedia that says that Seraphine is the daughter of Alex and David from the first movie. I don't remember that saying that anywhere in the film, and that would make her 16, and she don't look 16 in the movie. But yeah, apparently that's who she is. I think that's a load of crap, especially since she says that her father created the cure, and as we all know, if you've seen the first one, there was no time for him to be creating a cure for a werewolf thing. He didn't even realise he was going to be a bloody werewolf for most of it, and he wouldn't have had a clue. He wasn't exactly scientifically trained, this guy. So I don't really know where they went with that plot, but yeah. So basically the majority of the movie, after he kind of ends up getting bitten and starts transforming, is that he and his friends are trying to stop Claude, who is the main antagonist, who is using the werewolf blood, using Seraphine's werewolf blood to recruit other werewolves and change them and make a huge, like, they want to create like a scourge against the world. That's basically the plot of American Werewolf in Paris, because in the first one, obviously, it was just about David and Alex. You know, he was on the moors with his friend. His friend gets killed, he gets bitten or scratched or whatever, and then she takes care of him and he slowly transforms, and you just watch it and it's great. It's a great film. But this one just kind of made a bit of a farce of the whole thing. Tried to do the group element where they bring more people into the plot. There's nothing really special about it. I don't think I've ever actually written anything down that would make you want to see it anymore. Pros of this movie: it's a good fun adventure, I must admit. I mean, it's fun. There's a few good bits of CGI, not good bits of CGI, but the CGI makes it more interesting to look at, world changes and things. Yeah, it's a good fun sort of journey, a good fun adventure. There's a few good scenes in it that make you go, oh yeah, that was actually quite interesting. I'm glad they put that in there. Cons, the only one I can think of, apart from it being a bit of a comedy, but it does advertise itself as a comedy horror. It made all the nations look a bit stupid. Like, it made the Americans look very stereotypical. It made the French people look very stereotypical. It just kind of, I don't know. I didn't really like that. It made them all kind of look, made them all kind of look really dumb. I don't know. My favourite line in this movie, I don't really have one, but there is a good scene. There's a very good scene where there's a bungee jump moment, and he's celebrating mid-air at his awesome bungee jump, and then as he's going back up, he smacks his head and knocks himself out. So yeah, I don't really have a favourite line, but that can be my favourite scene. So yeah, okay, we're on the last one now. Oh, 11 minutes, not too bad. Yeah, so number one, for part one of this series I'm doing, the most pointless sequel out of all of the three. Sorry, this is actually a double pack, so there are both of them. It's 2001 Maniacs, Field of Screams. See, 2001 Maniacs is actually a really good film, I think. It is meant to be kind of stupid at points, you know, kind of satirical and whatnot, but the sequel, completely pointless. I mean, the first one has Robert Englund, which automatically makes it a winner, and I've just spent the entire evening watching The Man Glass, so I've got a thing for Robert Englund. I love him. Yeah, and it's about the Civil War. It's about how a bunch of the Northerners killed 2001 residents of Pleasant Valley during the Civil War, and their ghosts have to appease themselves by killing 2001 Northerners. And each year, at the Guts and Glory Jubilee, when Northerners get lost, or they put up a detour sign, so when they come along, they basically kill them, and until they get to their total of 2001, their spirits will never rest. A lot of the townspeople, I think, maybe aware of this around the town, but then sometimes you get survivors, and they like say, oh yeah, all our friends are dead, but the cops and that, they know what's going on. The sequel pretty much follows on, I think, the year after the events of the first one, and it's just a comedy farce from beginning to end. Bill Moseley comes in and he plays Mayor Buckman, who was played by Freddy Krueger, played by Robert Englund in the first one. This came out in 2010, they made the first one in 2005. It was only 5 years difference. I think I just don't see why they bothered. Lynn Shay's in it. She reprises her role as Granny Boone. And the kid who plays Hucklebilly reprises his role. I don't know your name, but Hucklebilly is awesome. I love Hucklebilly. It's Hucklebilly, dumbass. You know what? That's going to be my favourite line. Yeah, I mean, there's really not much to say about it because there's not much of a plot. In the first one, you had a plot. They were there to be killed. You watched them get killed in funky ways. And they were super fun ways. They were super fun, super gory, super entertaining. Just super everything. In the second one, I couldn't even tell you what the fuck the plot was because I didn't even realise. They basically have no more people coming to the Guts and Glory Jubilee. So they decide to take themselves on the road, where they meet a film crew who are filming this reality show called Road Rascals with Romy and Tina Sheridan, or Sheridan, I don't know, they're Sheridan, who are basically Paris and Nicole, The Simple Life. That's basically what they're taking the piss out of. And they meet up with them, and obviously there's no mention of them being ghosts. They just interact like regular people with really... Oh, you know what? There's actually a really offensive thing in this movie. I'm going to wrap this up in a minute. It's super offensive. In the first one, obviously they're all Southerners. That's the point. There's Southern people who are out hell-bent on revenge. In the second one, suddenly there's a Chinese girl, and she really hams up the Chinese, like, me love you long time stuff. And I was like, fuck, I bet that got complained about loads. I can't remember her name yet. I think it's something like China White. But like, it's really offensive, and I'm not one to sit there and go, you know what, don't say that, that's offensive, because if people say something, you can't take it back for them, they have to take it back themselves. But that so got complained about, it must have done. But yeah, they take it on the road and they decide to go and find the Northerners. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then, yeah, and then at the end they decide to take one of the cameras and make a commercial to make people come to Pleasant Valley. It's just really stupid, really dumb. Pros of this movie, I honestly can't think of one. It's something to watch when you're super bored and you've got no other DVDs. Cons, everything. Favourite line actually comes from Lin Shaye as Granny Boone. There's a moment when she's doing like a little booth, like they've set up booths for like their food and their skills and stuff, and she's like rubbing this butter onto a corn cob, and she says she's talking about everything you can do with a corn cob, and then she goes, oh, and ladies, with a little bit of pig butter, this thing makes one hell of a nighttime buddy. Oh, I'm actually cringing at the fact that I just said that. So gross, I'm sorry. But that's my favourite line. Yeah, I'm pretty much done with all of this. Yeah, I'm going to end it there. 16 minutes, not too bad. Still kind of long, but I did do 3 movies. What, 5.5 minutes pop. Okay, I'm going to end it there. Thanks for watching. I cannot wait for next Friday to do my Fright Tube review. And I'm probably going to do some series stuff, like a part 2 to this. I think I might do a separate After Dark original series. So maybe like one After Dark original, like one certain day a week, like every Wednesday or something. Yeah, so stay tuned. I'm going to do a bunch of different stuff. Okay.